reckon that they're going to hold a candle to Beast Coast in the end then?
I strongly believe so.
Nice. I like that confidence. I like it when we have the competition heating up in these regions, especially SA. You know, it can get so spicy between these guys. Alrighty, we do now have the draft for the second game of the series. Let's find out. I mean, so far nothing really changing. No one really kind of stepping away from those trusted bans. Yep. And why would you on Thunder Predator? I'm not expecting anything to change really on the first phase. Maybe Thunder Predator. I reckon they're just going to take their Tidehunter again, honestly.
The thing is, Thunder Predator, now they have the first pick, which forces SG to ban the Batrider, because it's just a strong pick that they can do on the 8th pick. But on the other hand, SG, they can counter on the core matchup, right? So I would hope here that SG comes with a better draft.
That they're doing already. I think Hiko's already made the call that he wants to play Tidehunter with this Monkey King ban. He's like, all right, that Tide Snapfire combo looked pretty good. Let's do it ourselves. But unfortunately, you know what gets given away here, gentlemen? It is the Abaddon. This is surprisingly scary. Like, if any of you haven't seen Panda Boo Abaddon, it's actually terrifying. He's gonna do really well on the hero. So now we'll also have to be afraid of the potential link up with the Medusa. We've seen them do that before with this Abaddon. SG Esports have a lot of heroes running through their mind. And, you know, now with this Monkey King ban, you never want to ban Monkey King and then not use the first phase to pick the hero that he counters. So let's see. I still think that Tide is probably their best option. But, you know, Snapfire, there we go. Come on, just do it. Just do it. Snap Tide. Snap Tide. Don't even waste the reserve time. Y'all know you want to do it. You know we need team fight. We know we want magic damage. Sure, it might not be amazing versus Abaddon, but still definitely better than like going... I think they might be getting debated into going Snap Mars because of just how good the duo is. But we just saw a Snap Tide win, and they didn't even win the laning phase, which is normally where I expect that hero to really get crazy and start its snowball. And that phase of the game wasn't that great for Thunder, and they still won with this duo. But they got debated. Snap Mars, here we go.
Yeah, and then there's the Batrider open here, which is a hero that can escape the arena, and what Thunder usually loves as an opening with the Abaddon, because he knows the hero won't be countered.
10 seconds
I'm not so happy to see that Mars also, and also because, as I mentioned, I found that Heiko, he can be the best player on SG, but if they just do that sacrificial pick for him, I'm not so happy to see that.
Yeah, they're trying it again. Clearly they believe in it, even though we weren't convinced last game. But sometimes, you know, you can just say like, oh, but this would have been my game if I'd just done this differently, or I'd just done that differently. If I hadn't, for some reason, leveled Bulwark in lane, life would have been good. So maybe that's a conversation he's having right now and suggesting that, hey, give me another shot, Chief. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to prove myself. And Thunder Predator, they will mix things up. I mean, I respect them for not going just down for the Tidehunter route, but instead they'll grab his arch nemesis and grab the Conquer instead. What does this say to you with this hero?
It's a hero that cannot be bursted in the arena, so this is a good reason to pick that hero. He's a lane dominator as soon as you don't play against Razor or Bat. And it's a hero that also Dark Mago, he plays flawlessly, this hero.
Yep. I was about to bring that up, that it's another one on the long list of Dark Mago comfort picks. I mean, we already saw the effectiveness of the Dark Mago Tiny in game 1 on Kunkka. We also have the option here. I still really think that they might go for a Medusa at some point, and Coco Rum's so good on that hero. Obviously, right now, it doesn't look that tenable, but we'll see as the draft evolves. So many options, of course, with this hero. Most likely, it's like 95% chance it's going to be for Dark Mago, but I've seen this hero occupying a lot of different roles as of late, both 3, 2, and 1. So I also one thing I love about having this Kunkka matchup is any given game that you have Kunkka within it, you also know that you've buttressed your team fight almost automatically. You don't have to necessarily worry that, okay, we've got the setup, but what's our big spell to at least keep heroes in that position a little bit longer? Kunkka takes care of that for you. And there's very few lane matchups that Kunkka ends up losing, so you're not going to feel unconfident about picking it early and be worried that SG Esports will go for some drastic counter pick that just changes the complexity of the entire game. A very solid, stable hero to put in the mid lane for yourself. Love to see it from Thunder. What do they ban here, though, to try and make sure they protect it? Or do they even... I don't even think you bother protecting it, honestly. Like, You protected it enough with this Ember OD being removed from the game. Now rather start to think about what do we do to enable Pakas the most with these subsequent round of bans.
Yeah, that's just the similar bans that they did against Infamous, where they banned OD, Dawnbreaker, and Ember. I guess just the comfort of Dark Mago playing the lane. It's an opening that they already did, so the Abaddon Kunkka against the Mars, because it's already two heroes that the Mars cannot burst, so not two really good arena targets. They're pretty happy with what they have so far, but would be great, as you mentioned, to keep the Kunkka as a flex, because then they're not hard countered on the 18 pick if they show their offlaner or their hard carry.
Feels like they might not be flexing it though, because they banned this Lina as well at the end of the draft. So I'd be shocked if they're not putting this middle. Does give a lot of information away to SG Esports now. How are they going to respond to this? We still need a 5 position from them. Because they know for a fact that their burst is going to be a bit of a problem. Maybe I'm not sure if they want to angle more into burst or lead away from it. They get Bane, so some lockdown. We already saw the effectiveness of this hero in game 1. Laning prowess is going to be a lot stronger as well. I think that's why they also would feel for themselves that, you know, things could have been better in the lanes. It wasn't a perfect situation from Thunder Predator, but SG Esports didn't exploit it to the max. And Bane is one of those heroes that can help you exploit weak lanes from the enemy. Set up again for more Morty's kisses. Set up for a spear back. You know, this could work. This could work. And of course, we know that at any given point in the game, you always want BKB piercing disable.
Yep, and just a quick note on the Bane as well. If you're quick on your fingers and good with your brain, which I most certainly am not, you will be able to interrupt the Kunkka combo when he goes for the X marks pullback. Nightmare can stop you getting pulled back in that situation, and of course when the combo's going off as well, you can throw out the Nightmare save then as well. So it's kind of like a mini save, but it's very good against Kunkka just for throwing a spanner in his works and maybe saving someone from that initial burst 100 to 0, which he can put out. And now Thunder Predator, they go for the Wind Ranger. So tell me where we think this hero's going.
It's a position 4 for Matthew for sure. He plays really well on the hero. He has so much impact with the shard. Yeah, and they show the position 3. So I guess it's very clear where heroes are going. Now it's a matter of FG if they will properly answer those heroes into laning phase. They still have the Gyro again. They have Luna, Ursa. And they need to pick a hero that's gonna win that lane against Timber.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah. Surviving is not going to be enough. Has to be a hero that wins the lane, gets out on the map quickly, plays the map in an aggressive fashion. You do know that, like you mentioned, Wind Ranger, this is very likely the Matthew hero. Shard Blink has been the preferred build-up for him. So knowing this, for SG Esports, you want a hero that's going to be able to dish out damage to Timber in lane, survive if he gets ever shackle-shotted. There is a lot of follow-up from Thunder Predator, but their initial round of setup is fairly difficult to achieve. So you can try and play into that and play something a bit more elusive in the safe lane. Let's see what's up. Like you said, we have Ursa, Monkey King's banned. Oh, that would have been nice if they still had it. What else have we seen against Timbersaw in recent times? I saw Troll the other day. Didn't go well, unfortunately. Even though they won the game, the laning phase was a bit of a disaster on that end.
Oh, there's SF.
There is SF, yes. There is safe lane SF. Get all that magic damage out. I mean, it does mean that you have to angle more into the magic build. Like, I saw that one game where, although the safe lane SFs have been going all this right click, as soon as you pick it for against a Timbersaw, just all the magic damage is too good to ignore. You're like, it changes the route of build up in the game, but it makes life so difficult for Oscar if they do go for that route. Maybe Bloodseeker, you know, a BKB buyer. Hero that is really good against Wind Ranger and Timbersaw, being able to keep them in position with Rupture. Combos up well with the Mars as well with Blood Rights. That could be an option for them, maybe.
Templar Assassin.
Nope. They just go back to safety, go back to their TA. Makes sense. At least in the mid lane.
Is it a mid TA or hard carry TA?
Not sure. How does TA do versus Kunkka in the mid lane?
10 seconds remaining.
Should do fine, but the last time that Dark Mago played this matchup, he won.
Okay.
So it should be in favor of TA, but he won this matchup, if I'm not wrong, against Infamous. I'll double check here.
It's almost like almost every lane. well, how does this lane go? Oh, this is what the hero matchup is like. Cool, what's happening? Dark Mago's playing, he's gonna win. No.
Oh no, actually they decided to put the Mars against the Kanka and run a TA safe lane on that match. Sorry. But he managed to win against the Mars.
Yeah. Alright, so no clues on where this TA might be going. Could be mid, could be safe. Maybe they're leaving it open themselves and just going to flex it up until they see the next pickup here from Thunder Predator. Meanwhile, we have the Loon and the Drought banned out by Thunder Predator, and SG will get rid of the Terrorblade and the Morphling. Final pick now for Thunder Predator. What do they want to grab themselves in the carry position?
10 seconds.
PL's still in the game, so they can't really go Medusa. Or they can, but it's a bit risky to go that direction for themselves. I'm looking at these bans, and it actually does feel to me like this TA is going to go into the mid lane. I also think that like TA is a lot better in safe lane if she has like an ogre or something. Just some kind of steroid. It doesn't have to be a massive one, but just something. And Thunder, it's always very frustrating when you're going carry for carry at the end of the draft. The potential to get immediately counterpicked with everything already being banned out is there. Now
Yeah, Razor.
Oh god, there is Razor. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I'd like that a
sounds
lot as
terrifying.
well. Also, Razor Windranger. With Windranger getting that shard, you just have like this global backup whenever you're trying to go on someone and steal their damage. It's pretty good. Pretty nice. Seems like the choice, but they do go for the Medusa. Okay. I mean, it's Thunder Predator, right? They want to secure the late game for themselves. They didn't want to go for the Razor because it would cause them to have a timer. And this team, one thing we've noticed about them is that they don't like playing on a timer. And SG Esports, final pickup for them, it's going to be the Ursa. Gentlemen, what are our thoughts on this draft then? Who do we think has the advantage?
I like the Ursa. Astini did mention it earlier, and its effectiveness versus the Timber Sword can be effective versus Kunkka as well. Just good against these super tanky heroes. We have seen games where with this build that you go up on this Ursa, building the Diffusal Blade, you can have some major impact against this Medusa hero, provided that you can get to her. But this game just has to buy Blink Dagger and Snap Bane, Mars. There's enough ways to keep the Medusa in position long enough for Ursa to get there and start right-clicking her. That being said, Medusa has so much behind her. Coco Rum, Abaddon heals, Timber Sword just going into frontline for her, time being bought with Shackle Shot. Oof, I don't think it's as free a Medusa game as it was as free a Morphling game for Packers here. There are some threats that Medusa has to worry about, but I do think that SG Esports are definitely in a situation where they have to make those threats happen quickly. They're definitely on a timer. It does feel like you get to a stage in this game where Medusa just starts to take over, and it gets difficult for you. Even though you have the smalls, even though you have TA, you can play very aggressively and play quickly. You gotta do it. You actually have to make it happen, and I'm really worried about right now the fact that this Medusa, given what we saw in the last game, I think that Thunder Predator is capable of playing in such a way as to protect her for as long as humanly possible until she doesn't need that protection and she's self-sufficient. So I'm very concerned about whether or not SG Esports can maintain discipline, right? Because to run a draft like this requires you to be able to pick your fight perfectly. There's not a lot of downtime, right? And conversely, when there's not a lot of downtime, sometimes you overfight. You end up committing too much to these engagements, and you can't really do that in this game because you need to be able to balance fighting as much as possible with also making sure you're getting the farm on the TA necessary to take these structures. Because if you don't, you'll get a lot of kills. You'll find we're having a bit of a rough time going uphill. And after a long enough time, going uphill is impossible against Medusa. She's just going to sit there, defend forever, and then take over the game. So I'm feeling Thunder 2-0.
Thunder 2-0. I mean, you raise a couple of great points there. I think for me, it comes down to SG. Do they have the fire within them to run at this Medusa and stop her having an absolutely free game? I mean, to do that, they're going to have decent lanes. The lanes didn't go horribly last game, so I'm not worried about that. It is just whether they have the coordination and the captainship to go and make that call, that play, and keep their cool whilst they're doing it. I'm not sure they do. I'd love to see it, though. I am going to go for Thunder Predator 2-0, unfortunately, due to what we saw last game. Astini, over to you, sir. Give me some good news.
What's
Go
good
on.
news?
We need to go
me.
for game 3. Let's believe Arms and his Ursa. I believe it's kind of free Ursa game. You go that Diffusal, it's so good against Duza. He should have a good lane against Timber. I'm just worried because sometimes Arms, he plays so aggressive the lane, and he might lose a lane that he's supposed to win. Because it seems like Ursa hard counters Timber, but if you play too aggressive and Timber get some kill on you, then you're screwed. So if they have decent lanes, I believe this Ursa can snowball. They have the tools to take towers. Let's believe on SG.
Let's believe. I mean, for me, that lane's interesting because it's Ursa's strength is kind of before the level 6 mark, where he can kind of chase down the Timbersaw and beat him up. But once that Timber hits 6, then it becomes a bit more difficult. So as you said, if he does accidentally go down or if he does make a mistake, it can be very, very punishing because you'll just shoot that Timbersaw forward to the 6. I can also see the potential for the Timbersaw being an absolute menace this game. If he can hit an early timing on a Heaven's Halberd against TA and Ursa, these are two heroes which absolutely hate playing against that. That could be a real issue and a timing I'm certainly going to be looking at. And you know who else I want to look at? It's Gareth and Lacoste who are going to be casting this game number 2.
Thank you so much. Yeah, here we are, game 2. As we've seen through seasons of SADPC, Hector K1, we've got Minos K2, HFN K3, the kings of farming in South America. But I think Angel Placas on this Medusa is one of the best, if not overtaking those 3 members of different teams as the best farmer in South America. We've seen his anti-mage, his more.
I gotta
now
stop
we get
you
to
right
witness
there. I
is
saw
Medusa.
K1 play some great Dota yesterday, dying. Tier 1 tower, dying for the first blood, deeping back, dying again, walking from the base to tier 1 tower, and still 15 minutes in being the most farm hero in the game. So yeah, I kind of disagree, Gary, but yeah, it's very hard to compete with K1. This guy, like, if he ever feels like he needs to change the region, I think every region in the world will welcome him and say, yep, come play for us.
He's an absolute god now, that's for sure. I just think Placas has proven his worth in the past couple of seasons of SADPC. But that kind of leads me to the question of this Ursa, right? The panel has talked about how he's very good against Timbersaw and Kunkka throughout the game. Do you consider Ursa as a counter to Medusa? Because
Yes.
it's something we talked about in Season 2, where he feels more of a counter than AM does.
Simple yes, Gary. I've seen this matchup so many times. I mean, it's gonna be much easier. You have Timbersaw that's gonna frontline for you. You have Kunkka's boat. You have like Abba with heals and shields. But just straight up carry to carry matchup, Ursa does really well. But you fall off if we're talking about like 50-minute game. Medusa most likely gonna carry. But once he gets that Diffusal Blade timing, and also you have 2 best heroes in the game to kill the Roche with, Templar Assassin and Ursa. So they need to be very careful about it. I would still prefer if Ursa is played on Radiant because of the value that you get. Like if you split the map in half, once the tier 1 tower falls, Ursa's going to be playing Triangle and also going to be playing top part of the map, which means you threaten Roshan much more. And you're also putting a lot of pressure on the enemy team who's playing Dire to play a bit like more top part of the map, and then if you have advantages team fight, or they either waste time or they lose a fight. So Ursa on Radiant, at least in my book, is much better.
I think that's a great point, right? Because we used to talk about Dire Roshan advantage a lot years ago, but with the map changes and the way the map is played now, like you say, when you're guarding your triangle, it's the most natural thing to do right now for Radiant to be top half of the map and automatically guarding Roshan by doing it. We'll see what they can actually do, though, to get that Roshan for SG. As that top lane is just Widge spamming nightmares onto Matthew, trying to keep Arms farming away. 4-0 so far, so a good amount of pressure from Oscar and Matthew so far. That Blightstone doing some serious work, while down bottom, Placas does get speared back. LTH and Heiko can't quite kill her off, though. Of course, Pandaboo there with the shields and the heals. We'll keep her topped up and farming away.
Placas, very interesting build. 3 branches, Band of Elvenskin, now bringing Gloves of Haste. In the pubs, I don't think you can do that, but in a professional game, it's okay, because your position 5 will have healing salves. He will have tangos, like mangoes, to pop on Medusa. Right now, she's sitting at no mana, so a bit of a tough situation. Unless he pops the mango, she's going to be sitting at no mana for a while. Snake 140 right now, it's sitting at 70. But to go back to top lane, like, this is not a bad lane for Timbersaw, because Bane even though he has pure damage, they can still get a kill. Let's see Matthew, another shackle shot in a couple of seconds. This should be the first blood, actually.
Oh, the stick in the brain sap, though. Widge is there just enough. Kills off a couple of couriers as well, I believe, as he gets himself a triple kill top. Oscar and Matthew lose couriers. Matthew loses his hero. Bane now going to go and try and deny himself to the tier 2 tower, and also double waving for that Ursa.
Great trade. Matthew, like, very close to using the shackle shot, but yeah, Bane got level 2 with the sleep, and Brain Sap was able to get the kill. One more time, Oscar, he really loves Bracer, man. He just loves to buy this item. But to go back to like lane Timbersaw against Ursa, you should feel like relatively safe. I want to see if he puts a point in Timber Chain just to be able to get away once they start chasing, or he puts another point and gets a bit more solo XP and then gets it on level 4. Because right now Matthew is trying to stack the triangle for Medusa. You gotta be careful about that, because if SG, they have great ways of taking the stacks, especially with Templar Assassin. So you need to be careful. If they decide to play that part of the map, let's say with Bane, who's one of the best zoners, whether he sleeps you, or if you decide to bring a Snapfire, a lot of kill potential there.
Yeah, such great ways to invade that triangle. You're absolutely right. TA so far doing pretty well for herself. Dead even in the CS with the Kunkka mid, so a farm trade between them there. I do want to come back quickly, though, to that Medusa item build you were talking about, because I remember AUI talking about a similar kind of thing back at TI, where we had a couple of like Spectre games, or there's like Falcon Blades being brought up, and he just said, why doesn't the carry buy Blades of Attack, a couple of branches, and then your position 5 ferries all of the regen to you? That's basically what Pakas is doing here, right? He's rushed treads, 4 minutes treads, and of course Pandaboo has tons of sustain to back him up in the lane.
It's very efficient.
Very efficient.
And as Abba, position 5, you really don't care about your items. You can play the game,
True.
I don't know, 30 minutes while having boots of speed and the Windlace plus a stick. This hero really doesn't need any kind of items to have value in the game. He's going to completely ruin Bane. Oh, Matthew.
Is Bane going to ruin the Wind Ranger? Matthew has Wind Run. Widge not going to Nightmare the Wind Ranger just yet. It's level 2 Brain Sap, though, so pretty close to a kill threat there on her. Looks like Arms pretty low on the mana, though. Didn't want to come and join in as Pandaboo down bottom gets cookied upon after that trap slow. KXY closing in, but a very wise TP. And then cancels it as well, so he can rejoin the Medusa.
Oh, what a player.
Yeah. Very smart. Oscar gets nightmared. Again, Matthew is just incredibly low, continually getting whacked around by the Bane. But you look at the Ursa CS in comparison to the Timbersaws, and you'd consider this a lane win by Thunder Predator, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I said it's a decent lane for Timbersaw. Yeah, Ursa's gonna hit you multiple times, but Timbersaw becomes super tanky early on, and with that extra bracer, he even gets a bit more value in the lane. What I don't like about SG's lineup...
Oh, but Matthew's dying. Widge being very cheeky. Go on, what do you dislike?
Because it's the same thing that they had in the previous game, where both cores rely on dealing heavy physical damage, so you can counter them again with Heaven's Halberd on a Timbersaw, which is something that he really loves to buy.
Yeah, even the Kunkka, right? We've seen, maybe not this most recent DPC season, but we saw Kunkkas go like Phase, Halberd, BKB, something like that. Do you think that's an option for Dark Margot?
In this game, Armlet, very good. They don't have that much burst damage, and just feels very nice on Kunkka. Accelerates your farm so much. So I would... BKB is not needed. You have... Not as a first or second item, maybe as a third, but I would love to see Armlet, Heaven's Halberd into a BKB.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right now, he's stacking bracers, it looks like. Bringing one out, and has another one queued up.
Has there been a patch, Gary, that I'm not aware of? Why are people buying so many bracers?
I don't know. Is that what does that indicate to you? Is that Dark Margot saying, "Hey, I'm gonna run at them. Like in 1 minute's time, I am just going to start running around the map doing some crazy shit"?
I don't know. It's not cost efficient. I just hope he doesn't go for a second bracer. It's not good. It's better to not upgrade it. You bought a second bracer, okay.
Yeah, I mean, in 5 minutes he's gonna have to sell one of them basically. And there is a halberd queued up, so yeah, nice call there.
Is under attack.
Nightmare onto the Kunkka though. KXY gives a bit of a chase forward, but Matthew will be able to hold them back.
So if he wants to go for halberd, like I still not approving double bracer build, but then he needs like something small to play with, any kind of small item. So these two bracers are gonna keep them in game. I would still prefer if these are two raid bands over two bracers because of the armor that you get. If you're playing against Ursa and Templar Assassin, makes more sense. And raid bands, they got buffed.
Alright, bands are super strong.
Dire's middle tower is
Some very, very deep wards here from Widge, like one behind that top tier one who's already got him a lot of use chasing the Wind Ranger around. Now there's that one deep in the mid lane. So they try and close in on the Timbersaw. Widge comes around after his little warding excursion, but Dark Mago nightmared up before he could cast a spell. Transfer just a little too late. Couldn't get the X mark out there.
I've never heard this voice line. Is that a level 30?
I don't know. I guess so. Yeah, I've not seen that either. Some mouth noises from Ursa.
For a second,
Lovely.
I thought it was some of the new voice lines that got added a couple of days ago.
I was so ready there for you to make an ASMR pun with Ursa's name, Lacoste. I am disappointed.
Oh, what am I missing? Oh, ASMR with the sounds. Okay.
Ursa SMR,
Arms.
you know?
Okay. My bad. Took me a second.
And
Gary.
yeah,
I'm
and
being
arms.
stupid today.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, like you said, Timbersaw is a bit of a boss up in that top lane, just soloing it out against two. While the rest of Thunder Predator, Medusa and Kunkka are both farming bottom side jungle. Under dire vision, they pretty much see everything happening. But SG are having a very quiet one now. Sitting in all three lanes, they are farming up, not giving anything away. TA, top of the net worth, as she should be, with Dragonlance and a Blink Dagger queued up. So a bit of a change there from KXY. Not going for the Deso after that Dragonlance this time.
Maybe he feels he needs to be able to blink out of stuff. Even though there is Nightmare, there is Cookie Save. A Blink Dagger is also a farming tool because you jump in between the camps. It's not on Templar Assassin, just an item that she can close the gap with. Might still change his mind, we'll see. I think in this situation, both are fine. Ursa will go for the Diffusal Blade after finishing off the Morbid Mask. So that Roche threat. Oh, Oscar.
Yeah, he's chasing this one, but he's going to have the Timber Chain away from the Ursa. Overpower at level 2, so himself a couple of hits there, but he can't close the gap. Good chain TP. But while that's all happening, bottom tier 1 does get taken down by Catapult and that TA rotation.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying. I was listening to Ursa's voice line.
Well, they killed the tower bottom.
And there's going to be a
Looks like
trade.
they're going to try and move into mid.
Ursa needs to move. Already on the mid lane.
Is under attack.
They don't have the catapult. Snapfire also no point in Lil Shredder, so that's going to take some time.
Oh yeah, true. 3-2-0 build on Snap.
Radiant structures are fortified.
TA has a Blightstone, but she's still stuck down at bottom lane.
Is under attack.
Arms very aggressively, pushes forward, thinking
Dire's
something's coming, and it's going to be Dark Margot's X-Boat. Spear. Not going to save him from that. Perfectly timed combo from the Kunkka. Shackle Shot won't latch onto a tree. Now Oscar trapped inside the arena, but SG, they evacuate the area while top lane, they're going on Pakaz. TA and Bane clear through that Medusa very, very quickly.
Fiend's Grip very efficient against Medusa, stealing the mana. Also, I think she should be in a triangle considering everyone else rotated to the mid lane. Yeah, so far for SG, they're doing really good. 2k gold lead. Templar Assassin, Blink Dagger finished using the Courier. They're gonna hit a really big timing with Templar Assassin, Diffusal... Deso and the Blink Dagger, plus the Diffusal Blade on Ursa. Templar Assassin for now, a bit too overfarmed, so like usually that's not the timing. Sometimes it's a bad thing, you know, you're waiting for that third item. Usually it's a 2-item timing. But yeah, gonna take a bit more, needs to farm over 2,000 gold. I can see them coming inside the Roche pit. I love the aggressive move on a mid lane. to try to go in and take the tower. Once that tier 1 tower falls, it opens up the Roche much more for them, even though there's still tier 1 tower on the top lane. Like the map opens up for a pickoffs much easier, and there's not gonna be like rotations. So far, Gary, not impressed by this ABBA. Like, I don't think he can do... It's one of those passive games. You're playing with Medusa in the lane, so you can't trade kills or anything. You are just going to be pretty much position 6 in this game.
It's just sit behind people. Like, you don't have catch, you don't have kill threat. You just sit behind the Medusa or the Kunkka, try and save them up. Shackle shot mid. Just a bit of chip damage onto arms. Let's see if Thunder Predator want to try and amass their forces in the mid lane for an actual shove on that tier 1. Sat near half HP. And Oscar more than willing to tank a few tower shots. Not so willing, though, to battle straight into an Ursa Templar Assassin, though. It's a good shackle shot, though, and the Chakram, that's good damage onto the TA as the Nightmare buys a bit of space. Now the arena comes in, but Arms is on the run. They don't want to battle Dark Margo, who runs straight forward. Thunder Predator still have tons of spells to cast here, and they're all incredibly tanky, but they've got a good grip. Dark Margo all stuck up in place. Speared back to the tower, beautifully done, but the heals and the shields. Dark Margo, he can't survive this. He's not allowed to. 50 HP, he does get himself away, while Oscar, deep in behind enemy lines, running himself backwards. KXY finally claims the kill on Kunkka. That blink allowing her to gap close onto Dark Margo, and Oscar. I don't know if Widge and Heiko can actually catch him here. Pretty speedy with the timber chains.
I think Mars is a good...
He sticks around.
He should be fine. How many charges does he have? Only 4, but should be okay. And even cuts down the tree. Even though it would not connect, still a good play, just in case. Yeah. Mars is going to be very... Like, Mars Spear, a repositioning tool, going to be great against Abaddon. Because if you click over a Photic Shield, you need to be close. Like, you need to be 300 range away from someone to be able to cast it. And if someone is speared back, that means that both Ursa and Templar Assassin can focus him down easily.
Yeah, it was very well done. And that gives Ursa a nice little boost. Diffuser Blade ready. So you pretty much have Blink Dragonlance Deso done at the same time as that Diffuser Blade on the Ursa. Two very farmed core heroes.
Yeah, I said they're overfarmed on Templar Assassin.
Yeah. Oh, the blink in. Matthew wind runs. It's a weird thing, synchronization in Dota, right? It's like a... Oh, well, hang on a second. It's a Nightmare on Dark Margo, but the spear off the mark from Heiko. That allows Oscar and Dark Margo to close in on the Mars. Matthew has been popped out by KXY and a good cookie forward. Hiko still alive, chasing Dark Margo's Kunkka, speared up again. They've got the Ursa on top of him.
This is big. SG, yeah. I'd say they're in full control of this game. Medusa's still not fight ready. You have this position 5 Eva that doesn't contribute much, on top of Wind Ranger, who also, like, her contribution is Power Shot and the Shackle Shot. You're not using other 2 abilities, like you're skipping ulti, there's no need to go for it, but let's see, deep ward behind the tower.
Yeah, sees Oscar. Nightmare into kisses, he's tanky though, gets himself away from the lava being chucked at him by Mortimer. It allows SG to just take the tower though.
They can go inside the pit, like they can force a Roche fight with haste on Templar Assassin and the freshly bought Deso. They know that there is no ghost ship. Okay, lanes were not in the greatest spot. Mid lane meeting near the tier 1 tower, and also top lane needs to be pushed out a bit. But still, I think they could have just gone straight into Roche pit. I don't think there would be a response from Thunder Predator.
Yeah, there's like no Ravage, there's no Arena, nothing like that, right? They've got Timbersaw, who's tanky but doesn't offer you much control. Kunkka is the be-all and end-all of the team fight here from Thunder Predator. If he doesn't have his spells or doesn't feel fight ready,
man, Abba's Abba's inventory looks kind of sad, not gonna lie. What is this?
Well, he's 9-slotted, mate.
He has... This is what happens when you have Trusty Shovel. You're running out of slots on position 5.
Jeez. Goodbye, Matthew. Just a grip in to slap down from the meld. Very easily done. Timbersaw also dropping low. Yule's up on that Ursa. While Medusa toys with TA. Or the other way around, I'm not quite sure. There's a haste on KXY, so that's giving that safety net. And they've got another catch. Nightmare and Pandaboo pops his ulti very early, and the TP home cancelled by a well-placed cookie. Now it's Roshan time.
Templar Assassin refusing to go Roche with haste. So that means I think first Aegis should go to Templar Assassin. She's level 17, Jesus.
She side blades twice off a small camp, trap slow, blink in, meld strike, kills the Timbersaw. Now a spear. Heiko's on the Medusa. Kisses launched out from long range. KXY side blades down onto Matthew. Now Pakas on the run away from there, and Thunder Predator just not in a position at all to match this aggression from SG.
This is their big timing, having Aegis plus 2-3 big items on their cores. Mars has a full BKB. Compared to previous game, this Mars is going to scale. Like, he rushed a Blink Dagger previous game. Oh man, Templar Assassin doing some real work here.
TA is huge. Pakas gets out of range of that spear. There's a decent stone gaze as well, but they've still got damage coming in towards her. Oh, Pakas, half HP, no mana remaining. The Mystic Snake bouncing back, giving a little bit more sustain as Heiko BKBs himself. Shiny Golden God now on the run. Thunder Predator, they've mounted a defense, an X-Mark drag, KXY back in, but a cookie away. So many ways to save this TA, but inside the Chakram, what can she do? Refracts up, Oscar chasing with a Timber Chain. The Meld Strike nowhere near enough, and the grip has to be cancelled. A huge takedown, the streak gone, and Oscar wants a bonus. The cherry on top is going to be Widger's Bane. Mules into the air. Dark Margo with the rest of the crew surround him.
Okay, this is a bit throwy from SG. Like, they don't respect how many times they can reset with the boat and with Stone Gaze. What Thunder Predator are looking in for right now is to delay the game as much as possible. They found a big boy Philly. There we go. Philosopher Stone drop for them, which means you're going to be able to get items on your position for Wind Ranger. She can buy a shard. I think in this situation, considering you're not fighting, you're not staying ahead, it would be much better to buy Aghanim Shard because it's a global saving tool as well, and they don't want to fight. Like, they realize how bad of a situation they're in right now. But once it comes down to itemization, it's very hard for Thunder Predator to itemize in this game. Going for Heaven's Halberd, the second one on Timbersaw, we already saw one on Kunkka being done. And also Medusa, I think Scotty into Butterfly, because with Butterfly you also counter both of their cores.
Yeah, that's very true. And Skadi super good against that Ursa as well. If Pakas can get there, and what are we talking about here? Like 10 minutes or something? If we think Thunder Predator want to be ready around 30 minutes or so, they need the space to be created for them. If SG crash their heads against the wall of these tier 2s like they did just now, that could be just what Thunder Predator want them to do.
Some of
They're
these
a big fan of that voice line. If I go in, I might die. Not Dark Margo making sure that he doesn't die when he goes in by X-marking himself back after clearing the wave. And a smoke sweeping across the map. SG encroaching on Radiant territory. Thinking about getting up towards that triangle. There's a courier there by the secret shop, but that's small fry compared to what they could get if they push up the ramp. Smoke breaks. Widger's Bane spotted out by Pandaboo. They kill off a trap. Now, what do you do here? You've smoked halfway across the world. You don't have your TA with you. Just kill the tower.
You can go in, kill the tower. Ursa getting closer to his BKB. I think a bit of a misused timing in the Aegis, because I said it's much better to put it on Templar Assassin first. I think Ursa gets second Aegis and even a second shard if they are the ones to kill it. Yeah, look at Templar Assassin. I like that. She's already preparing. She knows what the itemization from Medusa is going to be. And this is not what you usually see from Templar Assassin, going for MKB as their like third item. So yeah, she has great understanding like what Medusa wants to get after the Scotty is done.
Yeah, absolutely. Good foresight there from the TA. Still feels like the Dire are pressuring the Radiant back. You know, Mars is just sitting in that mid wave, tanking spells. Top lane's being pushed in by the Ursa. Thunder Predator trying to find space elsewhere with Medusa farming quite far away from
Wait a
any
second,
form of
Gary.
assistance. Does
Wait a
Pakas TP?
second.
Oh, what are we waiting for? There's a Nightmare on the Abaddon. That's a good shackle shot. Finding the Bane. Now Medusa is perfectly fine. Gathered up with the rest of her team. The BKB from Mars stops any X-Mark nonsense and spears the Kunkka up against the side of the Colosseum. Ico gonna get used up though. On the retreat, they're getting picked off one by one, and another little move in there. Shackle shot.
Matthew gets
Stops any
two-shot.
kind of attempted cookie save, but Matthew destroyed as the Mortimer's Kiss is landing beautifully. Pandabu trying to tank it up with his borrowed time. But Mars down. Ursa miles away from this fight, looking to join from that northern side. They've still got X marks to play with. Drag that TA back again into Torrents. Arms. Diffusal slow, but another good Yules. Pandaboo with no borrowed time. Couple of hits from that TA with a minus armor. Easy as you like.
Arms was not in that fight. He was farming the creep wave, did not want to join. I guess maybe his call was, I'm not joining until I get a BKB. You guys fight 4 versus 5. What I wanted to say is there is a Philosopher's Stone, and no one is using it on side of Thunder Predator.
No, but not even the Abaddon.
Abaddon picked it up now, after he died. So a lot of gold wasted. Windranger definitely should use it, because you want to give her a bit of farm priority. You can still swap in Keen Optic in between the fights, and you want to get to that Shard. Shard is pretty big, like Shard's Pog.
Jeez. Matthew's like dying to Sideblade splashes in the mid lane.
Is under attack.
Some dangerous stuff there from this TA.
Are fortified.
It feels like Thunder Predator want to start,
Radiant's
moving in towards a team fight. They smoke themselves up. Medusa has the Chrysalis now, so even more damage coming out of Pakas. Heiko, BKBs, good decision. Just reset, recalibrate where you are, where you want to be, smoke up if that helps, and move across the map again. No Roshan at least a minute though.
I want to go back to itemization. Medusa, buying Crystallis. Maybe she's staying either one step ahead or feels like Mars is causing a lot of issues with Bulwark, so she needs to be able to break him. That's why Silver Edge is queued up.
Oh, Widge. Oh, the spear tank by Pandaboo as well. Scardy slow, Bane in a bit of trouble. Bulwark trying to block and damage, tank up some of that damage, but Widge, that power shot slices him down. A good boat in with a Chakram on the Mars. The bigger target is Heiko. Oscar destroys him and moves on to LTH now. Snapfire, having a lot of that HP removed out by the Whirling Death, and the chain
Good shackle
Chakram
again.
forward gives Oscar a great double kill, all thanks to this Matthew Windranger with these shackle shots.
Now with 2 Heaven's Halberds online, they have so much kiting potential. If somehow you manage to get it off before they use BKBs or they like mistime it, even though like professional players are really good at Dota, sometimes we see that mistake. They're like, well, I'm gonna dispel it. Well, bad news for you, it's not dispellable by BKB. And then you end up doing absolutely nothing. Your BKB goes down. So this is a big timing for Thunder Predator, going those 2 Heaven's Halberds. They have like Yule's Scepter to deal with Ursa, also, which is not affected by status resistance. Beach trying to set things up, but what a Photic Shield will cancel any kind of attempt for them to go with the Nightmare initiation.
Yeah, you were asking if the Medusa was one step ahead, or what was going on with this Chrysalis into Silver Edge pickup. And I guess it's a bit of both, right? Expecting the enemy to expect you to go Butterfly. So you're like, okay, they buy MKBs, I don't buy Butterfly. But also, like you just said, matching and synchronizing with the timings.
You
Double
also-
Halberd, the Chrysalis, you just go.
Medusa has a level 15 talent, 15 evasion. And you see that, and you're like, well, I'll need to deal with that. 15%, still quite a lot for a level 10 talent. And then you look at Medusa's item build in general, which at one point, it's gonna be that Butterfly. So there is a full MKB done on Templar Assassin. Medusa might swap things around. She might say, screw it, I'm not gonna go for it. It's not worth it at this point.
Yeah, just go. I mean, maybe Maybe goes for the Silver Edge here, like you said, against Bulwark. Maybe thinks about like Daedalus Satanic as the spear from Mars. Heiko, great arena, allows the TA to shred through the Wind Ranger. Dark Margot dropping very low as well as Ursa closes the gap onto the Kunkka. Heiko with the Bulwark on, tanking through Pakaz and all of his right-click hits from range, but dies to the Chakram. Two-man stun in there, but Oscar, he's not being touched by the Ursa. Dark Margot helping him out with the Torrent. Now the Yules from the Timber Source slowing and kiting arms. The Ursa can't get on anyone.
And
The big bad bear turned into a teddy, and now Roshan's alive for Thunder Predator.
this is big. Stealing second Roche from not just Ursa, but also Ursa and Templar Assassin lineup is huge. Like, it's enormous. They lose so much value from both of their heroes. When we talk about like scaling, let's see if he decides to jump in and try to steal anything. It's a very risky move. Nah, he says...
Too risky.
He says, I'm too smart for this, and getting the hell out of here.
And that's Wind Ranger with a shard now, so can spend all of that money she saved for the Ghost Scepter. Medusa has Aegis. And look at this, Templar Assassin in that top lane blinks and TPs. Doesn't get caught.
Talking about neutral items, another perfect one for Thunder Predator. Blast Rig on Timbersaw. As like, you go in, anyone who tries to focus you... Oh, hold that thought, boat.
Have they just got the Mars? Yeah, Pakas with that Silver Edge. I mean, Mars BKBs and tries to run the cookie home. He's behind his tier 4s now, looking a little worse for wear. Dark Margot jumped on by Arms Ursa, but Arms is the one running back towards his fountain yet again. Medusa just standing her ground, this mobile turret, launching projectiles left and right and killing off the TA
manages to
almost.
blink
Good
out.
refraction, blink away, now the arena in from Heiko. Arms can stick on to Oscar as he's pushed by the shields, but SG, they don't have enough left in the tank. They're turned around upon. Ursa dead for a minute.
Abba also doing quite a lot of work using his Mistcoil, Aphotic Shields, even Holy Locket, plus a healing salve in a team fight, keeping everyone
Like
alive.
5 salves.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, he's been digging. My man, he's been mining, you know, investing into those graphic cards, getting those healing cells out.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
He's tanking the market. Salves on the down. Oh,
Look at this
look
shard.
At that Gale Force. Look at that Wind Ranger just pushing them, dragging them into the waiting arms of Thunder Predator as they're up on his high ground. The onslaught continues. First lane of barracks down. It's bang on 30 minutes into the game. That's when we expected the Medusa to be ready to take this one out, and she absolutely is. Pakas, top of the net worth, holding that Aegis, and now looking to snipe out Widger's Bane.
Yeah, they don't have
Right,
enough.
Margot
Like,
claims
Ursa needs to go in, he needs to make something happen. 60 seconds without TA. They saw TA buying MKB, which means that she does not have buyback. She can't be that farmed. Yeah, that's game, Gary.
Yeah. LTH jumps into his own demise.
Dire's middle
Ursa and Bane in the fountain while your throne is falling. Tier 4's collapsing.
Dire's middle tower.
The foundations of the Dire base being shaken
Oh, there we go.
by Thunder
Albert
Predator. The
before
disarm.
BKB.
Absolutely right. Arms can't do a damn thing. Enraged BKB, now the Yule's up. The Ursa has done very little damage this game because he's been kited, disarmed, and kept at bay. GG is called. Matthew diving fountain gripped up there, but they've got a good drag back again on that Bane for another 5-man wipe, and the throne will crumble.
I gotta feel bad for SG because of the situation they were in. Like, they had this game, but unfortunately decide to like swap things around, not give first Aegis to Templar Assassin, and also like she got caught. They lost the momentum. Ursa not joining a team fight. Thunder Predator is just a better team. They have a better understanding how to, like, once they're ahead, how to keep the advantage going, and they also know how to play from behind. Also, itemization. I think the SG put themselves in a tough spot with drafting two cores that rely on dealing heavy physical damage, and itemization wise, Thunder Predator, they were on point. 2 Heaven's Halberd, 1 from Kunkka, 1 from Timbersaw. Just a kind of a natural in this situation.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. A couple of days ago, we saw a Drow Ranger picked to counteract a Terror Blade, and the Drow Ranger did 0 damage to the TB in that game. And I just wanted to look here, Ursa versus Medusa. We talked about how it could be a good matchup, how Ursa can counter the Medusa. You mentioned that Timbersaw and Kunkka
I don't think
frontline.
I don't think Ursa hit Medusa.
27 damage And I think that was probably an Earthshock. That was like Ursa did 27 damage. No, 27 right-click damage to Medusa, 100 damage from Earthshock, 127 damage from an Ursa who potentially counters Medusa feels pretty bad. But yeah, a much more straightforward game as we got later into the match there for Thunder Predator. We'll throw it back to the panel and listen to them break down the rest of this series, though.
Unfortunately, SG Esports could not pull out anything out of the bag in this second game, and they do get 2-0'd, unfortunately, by the side of Thunder Predator. I mean, game number one, pretty close at stages. We had some nice things to say about SG Esports, but this game, unfortunately, that was just complete domination from Thunder Predator. I mean, what were the major talking points of this game for you, Snow?
There was so many, because initially it actually seemed like to me that they were doing such a good job, SG Esports. We were talking about like the potential surprise, and that first 15 minutes, my goodness, it looked so good. They were making all the right moves on the map. Sure, they weren't killing Dusa, which is unfortunate, right? Because that's the one win condition we identified. Like, can they actually find her and reliably kill her? And they weren't able to do so, but they were killing everybody else, right? All these other heroes, especially the Timbersaw and the two supports, were practically getting no farm on the map. Panda Boo kept dying over and over again, breaking smokes, giving away gold in the other direction. And it looked like everything was going well for them. They do all the things you want to do when you have a TA and or Ursa in your draft. Go take that first Roshan, get the Aegis on one of these cores, and then start playing aggressively into these buildings. And that's where it all goes wrong. All right, it all goes south almost immediately afterwards. The first Aegis, Lacoste mentioned it there at the end, that they put it on the Ursa instead of on the TA. And the reason at that point in the game is such a big mistake is that Ursa not really able to get forward in the same way that TA is. TA is the one that's still playing aggressively. Ursa's kind of still farming. And the first fight they decide to take after that, right? It sort of reminded me about what happened in game one. In game one, they took an Aegis, lost it, and then still decided to play aggressively. This time, they put the Aegis on the hero that can't get aggressive yet and still play forward, and they get beyond punished. The most farmed hero on the map dies. Not only dies, but dies to Medusa. Okay, that's the start of the cascade of bad effects. And everything from there just really felt like it was going wrong, right? They were still getting some kills here or there onto the supports, but they weren't able to skirmish anymore. Any of the big fights that started, what would happen? Kunkka would throw a boat, Medusa would show up, pop R, fight's over. You have to leave. You just will not be able to sustain through this. They stopped being able to kill Oscar. At some point after this Heaven's Halberd showed up, the Timbersaw just became way too strong. And here we are still in this period of the game where they still feel very, very favored, right? But it's this next fight coming not too long after this. And sure, this so far looks all good, but here we go. It's this exact fight. It's a continuation of the replay we just saw. This death, the game honestly ends here. If you lose your hero that's the most farmed on the map, she's the one that's opening up the most space. She's the one that is building and closest towards getting the BKB, which is absolutely required to play into Thunder Predator. She's the one that's able to two-shot supports. Then you're not going to have a good time, because this Ursa, we were talking about it in the pre-game, how difficult it's going to be for him to reliably close in on those targets. And my goodness, we saw that. Arms, did everything he could, but just wasn't able to actually hit anybody important. You kill Van Matthew, whatever. You kill Panda Boo, whatever. Can you kill Kunkka? No. Here comes the boat. Here comes BKB. Here's Halberd. Can you kill Dusa? Well, Parkas is just doing Parkas things, going ham in the middle of these fights. Really did feel like SG Esports, that one engagement goes south and the rest of the game cascades from there, especially because when you lose the ability to kill Dusa and you're now losing the only hero that can make that happen, the game is just not going to go well for you with how many ways they have of keeping her alive in the fight.
Astini, I mean, is this kind of on par of what you expected from SG today, or, did they perform a little bit better than you expected, or a little bit worse, perhaps?
They performed even better. I was expecting, to be honest here, Thunder to stomp. I guess we need to be honest with that, because Thunder, in my opinion, is the best team on the region. And SG, they didn't play well at their first match against Infamous. So I see a lot of improvement from their side. They played very, very well that game in the beginning. Like, to be 6k ahead against Thunder Predator, that's amazing. But they made that one small mistake, which is not small, of letting the Aegis to Ursa, which made they lose. So they just need a little bit of better understanding of their playstyle, because they need to understand KXY, he's the position 1. If you have one core with 14k and another one with 8k, the one with 14k, he's your position 1, and you want to keep your position 1 alive, and especially if that's the hero which has siege damage, then you definitely want the Aegis with him. So
Oh yeah.
I cannot call a small mistake. It's like extremely huge mistake that they made, and they were punished for that.
Yeah, elephant in the room, I would say. It really was bad. And, like, I kind of almost felt like this Tim, but I don't know. He definitely had some really awesome items this game. Like, he completely itemized against the Ursa. The Yules is so hard for the Ursa to fight into, and then the Halberd as well. You know, I was calling for that at the start of the game. And, I mean, he gets it, and this Ursa just feels like a little... He didn't feel like a big scary bear. He felt like a little cub running around trying to gnaw at people's ankles. It didn't work. And then they give him the Aegis as well. Meanwhile, the TA is just there like, yeah, I completely agree. I didn't really understand that choice. I mean, why do you think that is? Do you think like SG just kind of a little bit of an experience there, maybe still believing that their Ursa was going to come through and carry the game, even though from our perspective it was kind of more clear that it was the TA who was going to be the big raid boss?
I don't know, maybe it's a lack of practice on that strategy. Maybe they just came up with that because they saw the Thunder Predator picks and it was amazing game for that hero. And they end up like with the Ursa TA, and you usually don't want two heroes that rely on have Aegis, and they end up on that situation and weren't sure on what to do, because I strongly believe if they tried this before, they would have the feeling, it's a natural feeling that it should go for TA. So I believe they just try to improvise to not surprise only Thunder Predator, but surprise themselves. And yeah, we are all surprised.
I mean, Astini, you did want surprises in the game, right? And you got what you wanted, you know? Might not have been exactly how you wanted it, but you still got it. And just to build on what Astini was saying now, I think what probably ended up happening, and Lacoste mentioned it in the game as well, when that Aegis attempt happened, TA wasn't there, which that should never happen. But I think it probably is a thing of, oh, you know, sometimes, okay, Aegis has dropped, go, take it, let's do something. And TA was already trying to get moving on the map. She's out here killing this Timbersaw in like 2-3 shots. So, you know, sometimes you're feeling yourself a bit too much. You're playing from the mid lane and you're like, oh, yeah, I don't need the Aegis. I'm like halfway towards BKB. Ursa, you're the one that's struggling right now. You take it. I'll get BKB. Then we can just go. Spoiler alert, you can't. Spoiler alert, you can't.
Yeah, feeling themselves a bit too much. I mean, we've all been guilty of that over lockdown, I think. But that is going to do it for this series. We're now all done with Thunder Predator versus SG Esports. And again, like I actually want to say, like SG Esports, they put up a great show today. I was expecting them not to get a look in both games or points where they looked ahead, and some very clear things then to work on. So I'm definitely going to be watching these guys throughout, season 1. Hopefully they stay in it. I mean, so far it's not been a great start for them, but I hope they can stay in Division 1, and maybe we'll see more of them in Division 2, in Season 2, sorry. And that could be their time to shine, but yeah, unfortunately still a little bit of growing for this team to do. And Thunder Predator still looking absolutely dominant, as we expect. These guys, since they're formed under the Thunder Predator roster, they have just been looking really, really great. So definitely excited to keep on watching their performance and hopefully see them soon on an international stage. And now next up, we have Infamous versus No Ping as the next series of the day. So we're going to throw to that game, of course. We'll have a break before then, and we will see you in about how long we got before that one. Not too long, about 48 minutes time for that game. So don't go anywhere, and we'll take a little break, and then we'll be back with that series.